good evening to everyone present here. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to all of you for joining us today for this Marketing Masterclass organized by the Marketing Club of the Placement Cell SRCC. I, Manvi Shinghari, shall be the host for today's masterclass, which will provide insights on marketing in and out. Marketing is very broad and encompasses all strategies that help a company, brand, or an individual to achieve its objectives of luring customers and inducing sales. Today's session shall be focusing on various aspects, including an introduction to the functions of a marketing company, an overview of the work of its client servicing, planning and creative departments, and most importantly, the career prospects in marketing. It has been rightly said, good marketing makes the company look smart, great marketing makes the customers feel smart. We are delighted to have with us Ms. Prachi Bali, National Head Client Partnerships and Business Head North of Foxymoron, which is a leading independent digital products and services agencies. At the age of 20, Ms. Prachi co-founded a social entrepreneurial venture called Project Chirag, which provides solar lights to underprivileged villages in India. This college project has been running successfully as an NGO for the past 10 years. After being awarded a full scholarship to pursue her master's degree in London, Prachi returned home to start a retail e-commerce website as an extension of her family business. She later joined Foxy Moron as an account manager in 2013, and over the past 3 years, Prachi has grown the business 6 times in the northern market, making her a force to be reckoned with. She later paved her way for taking on the role as National Head of Client Partnerships in addition to her ongoing responsibilities. Under her leadership, Foxy Moron Delhi executed some memorable campaigns which received multiple awards and accolades on various award platforms. Since her appointment as Business Head North, she demonstrated her prowess by generating significant business opportunities in the northern region. She is undeniably the heart of our organization, which is evident in her ability to build the strongest and the most close-knit teams. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Manvi. That was very sweet. And I think, first of all, good job, all of you guys, for arranging this and organizing this just as students. I think it's pretty amazing. Reminds me of my college days. I hope everybody can hear me and see me okay. It's all good. If at any point of time during the presentation, if you can't hear or see me, please let me know so that I know I need to check in. All good. Should I begin? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am, I think we can start.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to share my screen. And yes. So as I was introduced, hi everybody, I'm Prachi. I am currently in Gurgaon and have been working from home for the last year and a half. It seems like forever, and absolutely hate it. I think anybody who works in an ad agency will tell you that the best part about working in an ad agency is being able to be together and brainstorm and actually feed off of each other's energy. But having said that, I hope everybody is being safe and being very cautious about where they're going, what they're doing, and everyone's families are safe as well. It's our responsibility to fight this together and, hopefully also get vaccinated as and when 1st of May vaccinations open up for everyone 18 plus. So definitely do take the right steps to protect yourself and your family. So having said that, as rightly mentioned in the introduction, marketing is a massive, massive industry. It's not restricted to any one kind or one aspect of anything that I can encapsulate in one singular presentation. I today will be attempting to take you through an agency point of view on things and what are the functions that we have within. I think why I also liked talking about this is having studied marketing all my life myself as well. A lot of people and a lot of guest lecturers came and spoke to us and showed us case studies and showed us great work, which was always extremely inspiring. But I felt, at least when I was growing up, that somewhere nobody really explained to us the functions that are there beyond theory and beyond textbook knowledge. So it's my attempt to walk you all through a little bit about what we're about at the zoo, and also therefore hopefully take you through some sort of a structure and understanding of the different functions that exist in agencies today. So yes, we belong to the Zoomedia network. What the Zoomedia network is that we are India's first homegrown media network, and we consist of 7 different agency brands. Each of our 7 agencies specialize in different parts of the marketing funnel, different parts of the marketing mix. And we, of course, our vision and ambition always is to be the preferred network agency within the country and hopefully globally as well in the future. So I'll go from right to left because I think Foxymoron is the name everyone's mostly heard of. So I'll come to that bit last. But yeah, so what the zoo consists of is a lot of us and a lot of different agencies of the animals relating to animals. First one on your right that you can see is Phosphine. So Phosphine is a consumer tech company, and what we do within Phosphine is provide different consumer-facing solutions for today's digital needs, such as I'm sure all of you are familiar with filters, which are there on Instagram, chatbots, WhatsApp chatbots, different kinds of augmented reality, virtual reality, and different campaigns surrounding that. So that's pretty much what Phosphine as a unit does for us. There are different roles within Phosphine, and there are different functions and lots of exciting technology that we keep playing around with, and we try to inculcate and incubate within our campaigns. And hopefully, if that does well, and then we're able to catch trends much earlier than they happen within the country. So that's the aim and vision for Phosphine. Next, we have Noesis Tech. Noesis Tech is a company that we acquired a few years ago. It's a 10-year-old company which provides any and every kind of tech solutions. To simplify that, that effectively means websites, applications, any kind of microsites, banners, emailers, HTML, those kind of things. So all kind of tech products reside within the Noesis Tech for us. Next, we have Mammoth Studios. So Mammoth is our latest agency. What Mammoth aims to do is to establish our own publisher network across the country of different publishing websites, and also look at long format content. By long format content, I mean what we see on OTT channels, what we see a lot of on YouTube, those kind of things. So essentially IPs, those kind of longer video format specific content, which are proprietary. That's what Mammoth pioneers itself in. Next, we have the Rabbit Hole. Rabbit Hole is our full-fledged production house. So by production, we of course mean shoots. So photo shoots, video shoots, animation videos, any and every kind of video capability and created content is what effectively the Rabbit Hole does. Then we have Polin. Polin is our influencer marketing agency. So what we do, influencers are, I'm sure a lot of you follow them on Instagram, on Facebook, on different platforms, on YouTube. A lot of them have, they're doing content today at the speed of lightning, and that industry is evolving extremely fast. And so Polin is sort of our specialist agency which deals with that. Within Polin, we have different aspects such as we look at influencer marketing from a talent point of view. Like for instance, Sunil Gavaskar is represented by us. So him and his digital presence and everything that he does online through collaborations or through content is something that we manage and handle through Polin. Then we also work on different clients, and for different clients on behalf of them, we work with different influencers such as a Kusha Kapila or a Beer Biceps and so on and so forth, different celebrities, Virat Kohli to Shilpa Shetty to Karishma Kapoor, regardless. So everything and anything to do with influences and talent is something that resides within Polin. Then we have Doinoin Consulting. Doinoin Consulting is effectively a consultancy arm that we've built within the network. What a consultancy arm essentially does is looks at a lot of primary, secondary research, encapsulates that along with market understandings and insights and consumer patterns, buyer behavior, and those kind of market realities, and studies the market, studies the category that a particular product wants to enter. And based on that, gives different recommendations of either a go-to-market strategy or a product launch strategy or a brand launch strategy, whichever way you may want to sort of use them for their services. I think across the network, before I come to Foxy, so the way that the agency of the future operates is what we truly believe at the zoo to be this, where functions are not divided by competition. Like traditionally what used to happen is if you as a client, if you have one telecom network as your client, you couldn't work with another telecom operator. So that would be like a case of compete. And so therefore, you would have different agencies within a network which can cater to different competing brands. What we decided and what sort of conceptualized with the zoo was that we wanted to divide our functions, our agencies based on functions of the future and what digital brands are truly going to need. And gratefully, I mean, thankfully for us, actually, it worked out, even though we had a pandemic, but because we were catered to the products of the future, we were in a much better position to fulfill the needs of our clients when everything suddenly, flipped to digital. So I think that's kind of what our vision was, and we're on our initial steps of also getting there to being the agency of the present and the future now. So the pandemic sort of fast tracked everybody's move to digital for us. And finally, when you look at Foxy, so Foxy is what is a typical digital 360 agency. Foxy is also, of course, this entire conversation and this entire network started with Foxymoron. Foxy is almost 13 years old now. We'll be completing 13 years in a few days now. It was started by four guys, four college kids, literally. They pretty much came together and started thinking about what's Facebook and what are people doing on Facebook nowadays. Why aren't brands on these platforms if there are so many consumers on the platforms, and let's try to figure it out. So we started off doing simple things like building websites and trying to work with different brands and managing their Facebook and their Twitter and those kind of things. Cut to today, we have over 50 clients just in the Foxymoron agency system, and we look at different categories, and we've worked with the who's who in the industries over the years. Very cool campaigns that we've done. And I think we've been really fortunate to have been on the wave of digital right when it started, and therefore been able to establish ourselves as one of the leading independent agencies in the country today. So that's a little bit about Foxy. We have three offices in Bombay, Gurgaon, and Bangalore. These are our three offices. We have over 350 people across the network today. And yeah, I just wanted to spend a little bit on vision, mission, and values, simply because I think that having been a student of marketing myself, we often get taken away by the glitz and glamour of everything advertising and everything marketing. That's, of course, what attracted me to it as well. It's amazing to be able to control communication and to be able to see that actually manifest into actionable results. But somewhere I feel like there are a few core systems and values that we should always have, no matter which job we do, no matter where we plan to go in life. So very quickly, I mean, I won't spend too much time on this, but if I look at what our vision is, so our vision is to be the preferred partner to leading businesses, which maximizes potential by providing the most impactful solutions through future ready products and services. So a little bit about this, right? I'll walk you through why this and what the breakdown of this is. So build a network came from being ambitious, and also more than that, what we truly wanted to stand for. And I think what digital today, as one of the largest conversational mediums in the world, what digital truly means is building expertise. No matter which arm of digital you go into, no matter which sort of place you go into, which agency, brand side, client side, agency side, whichever way, expertise is something that you're going to work towards building, and is something that you have to constantly keep learning for. I think that's one part of my job that's never changed, is that I'm constantly reading, I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly exploring newer avenues and aspects of marketing through every and any platform that comes up today and tomorrow. So right from when Instagram started to today, if something like a Moj exists as a replacement of TikTok, it's our job as marketers, regardless of where, to keep making sure that we're in line with what the platform is and what consumer needs, evolving consumer needs on that platform look like. That's how you stay on top of the game. Next, when we say preferred partner to leading businesses, as a part of our vision, we want to be the preferred partner because we truly believe in taking ownership of everything that we do. I think what digital also allows you to do versus a traditional platform such as television is that we can measure and be able to check impact of a campaign from start to finish. Because everything is so technologically enabled and advanced, we truly can deliver solutions to our clients which we can measure ROIs on very distinctly. ROIs is return on investment. And that's kind of what you're going to have to look at no matter what kind of a marketing plan you come up with. No matter if you're spending 100 rupees, what is the return on that investment? And why digital is so lucrative and why so many people are attracted to it is because it's continuing to evolve and enhance its ways of measurement and driving business. And that's where the game gets exciting. That is what is so cool about what we do and so interesting, because you can track different consumers, you can study their behaviors in different ways, and therefore make judgment calls, also experiment a lot, look at what happens if I show them this visual versus this visual. You don't get that luxury, so to speak, in television, for example, or print. You can't say, oh, okay, today I put out a print ad and then tomorrow I'll see and let's see which one works better. You don't have those kind of flexibilities provided to you. Versus in digital, you can actually do these things, which is really amazing about it. So, therefore, in order for us to become that and to be able to provide those solutions, we want to work with different market leaders, no matter which category and no matter which industry we're working with, and to maximize potential and provide the most impactful solutions. Today, as marketeers, I think gone are the days when we could just have fun. Like, I know everybody thinks of advertising as Mad Men and a page out of that. I wish it was. It isn't. The world's changed a lot since when that was conceptualized or when that was created. It's a lot harder. It's a lot more competitive. It's a lot more aggressive and ambitious as well. So you have to constantly be data driven. You have to be technologically advanced and sound. You have to be accountable to not just not just money, but also privacy. What are the new rules? How are you actually getting data of consumers? How are you targeting them? How are you reaching out to them? Is your messaging being displayed on the right kind of platforms? Is your brand safe? What are your brand safety measures that you're following in order to advertise on different platforms on the internet? So I think that therefore makes it a lot harder, but it makes it a lot more accountable as well. And of course, because everything is result oriented, performance is the key factor that goes in any kind of measurement of whatever it is that you're doing. And of course, we want to be future ready, because that was the vision, that is the vision of the network, is to be innovative, adaptive, proactive, and resourceful always. So I think one thing that any of our clients will tell you about us as well is that no matter what, if Foxy says we'll figure it out, they will figure it out. We may not have done something may have been first time ever in India. I remember 7 years or 8 years ago, the Google Glass had just been launched in Europe only in a very few cities and outlets. And we went and told L'Oreal that, yeah, we'll do a campaign with the Google Glass. And they said, where are you going to get the glass from? And we said, we'll figure that out, but we will do it. And yes, we somehow procured a Google Glass. We taught Sonam Kapoor how to use it. We put it on her stylist, and her stylist followed around the can red carpet. And we did India's first ever Google Glass campaign. So I think, you have to therefore always be on the lookout for these kind of things which continue to drive that spirit of marketing in you. Because if you're excited by it, that's when your consumer is going to be excited by it. If you're pretty much on the fence or you're doing something mundane, the consumer's also not going to react to it in that much of a strong fashion. So, yeah. And our mission, of course, is that we exist to foster a culture of expertise that weaves consulting, content, media, technology, which creates holistic solutions through collaboration and data backed processes for organizations that demonstrate ambition and thought leadership. While this might look like a lot of words on screen, uh, it took us many, many, many years of being in the business to actually be able to pinpoint what we're here to do and what we want to do. So it takes time. I think this is, considering I'm talking to a lot of students, I work with a lot of young people. The average age in our agency is somewhere around 24, 25. So not much older than you guys. And I often find them, I want to find my purpose and I want to take a sabbatical and Those kind of things, when you've only been working for a couple of years, always sound strange to me, because what I always tell people, and whatever advice that I give out, finding your purpose can be the most complicated thing and can be the simplest of things that you ever do in your life. But that, at the end of the day, is a milestone that you can achieve at whatever point and whatever point time in life was is appropriate or is destined. Don't get so obsessed with the big picture that you don't pay attention to what you're actually going through and the experiences that you're actually getting and gathering. A lot of opportunities present themselves in very different ways. You might not even realize it. You might look at something today in a slide and you might remember it probably 4 5 years down the line, and it may make sense to you. Right now, it may just be nonsense, which is possible, which is fine. But don't take yourself so seriously that you stop enjoying what you're trying to do in life, no matter what field you go to or no matter where you land up. So, yeah, I think always remember that. Some of the clients we've worked with, to be honest, we have, I think over the course of the last 13 years, we've pretty much worked across everyone from a Make in India to a Hershey's to a Kellogg's to brands like Sandisk, Alcobev brands. We've worked with everyone in television, so on and so forth, across the board. HUL, P&G, L'Oreal. We've worked with some of the best and been lucky enough, and of course we've worked very hard as well to be able to work with some of the most prestigious startups, family-owned businesses, and also clients that multinational clients as well. So that's, of course, just in a nutshell, some of the slides. And then when you look at Foxy, because I'm from Foxy, so I'm here to sort of tell you all specifically about Foxy as well. What we have in Foxy is, like, let's say we have clients, like some of our recent clients that we've just won is someone like a Cred. Now, when you look at a Cred, right, and you guys must have seen the Rahul Dravid ads, and you must have seen, all the hoopla that went on and on about it, or even if you see a brand like Uniqlo, which is one of our clients as well, there is an entire army that is required to actually handle a brand's presence online, on digital. I think that's where structurally also you'll see in the later on slides that a digital agency is very different from a mainline creative agency or a mainline media agency, because there are so many elements in a digital plan which vary right from creative, copy, design, video, media. All of those things in one is pretty much what an amalgamation of a digital campaign plan looks like. So when you look at Foxy and when you look at what we do, we call ourselves a 360 digital marketing agency. So what that means is anything and everything that you want to get done on digital as a brand is something that we help you with. So effectively, as I simplify it and say, anything you can click, we do. Anything that's clickable is something that we can figure out for you. Over the course of years, as I said, we've worked across different categories, and I think that's one of the most rewarding parts of being in advertising, is that you get exposed to so many different kinds of businesses. Right from, let's say, I've worked in alcohol, I've worked with a Beam Santry, so I know how to sell whiskey, I know how to sell beer, I can sell insurance because I've worked with Religare Health Insurance. I've worked on Make in India, so I can work on, like, I know how to, what those initiatives that our government is taking. I've worked intensely in FMCG. So right from selling lipstick and makeup to selling biscuits and cookies to sell, so it kind of, this is the beauty of advertising, that it pretty much shows you, gives you kind of like a small behind the door access to different kinds of products and technologies and services that exist in the market today. So yeah, just some of our clients, you can see them. If you have any particular questions about clients and all, I can answer those later. But yeah, and my final gyan bit, I guess, that I want to give out is something which we call our values within the Zoo network, which is IceCube. IceCube essentially stands for integrity, creation, endurance, excellence, and empathy. Why is this relevant to a bunch of students? Is because no matter how big, small, no matter how much you progress in your career, and I wish all of you always the best of luck, if you don't hold on to a set of values, there is really any wholehearted progress that you'll make success is a combination of multiple things. It's not always about the money, it's not always about a designation. It's also about the relationships that you make and the bonds that you create and the work that you put out. And I strongly believe that good work pretty much comes out only if the bunch of people working on it belong to the same set of values and they honor the same, they have certain elements which they stay true to no matter what. So integrity, of course, having integrity is something at the zoo which is non-negotiable. We always maintain the highest level of ethics no matter what we do, from across stakeholders, right from someone in our admin staff to the co-founders. It's our guiding light no matter what. Creation. The why we call this one of our values is because no matter how big the business gets, no matter how scaled up the client gets, creation is what we're all here for. Marketing at the end of the day is a creative industry. It always will be. And so the whole action of bringing thoughts and words alive is what creation is all about. And that should always be a core value if you work in marketing and advertising. Endurance. Advertising and marketing is not for the faint-hearted. I can say this 100 million times to everyone. And if you think this job is easy, please do not be under that misunderstanding or misguided principle at all. It's one of the toughest jobs that you can ever imagine. So therefore, if you want to be in marketing, advertising, you have to have a high level of endurance for everything. And I know, like on LinkedIn, a lot of, especially during lockdown and stuff, I've seen a lot of either people saying things about it work-life balance, and people saying a lot about, you don't have to work for so many hours, so on and so forth. I agree. Don't get me wrong. I definitely agree that you need to maintain work-life balance, but I also very strongly believe in self-accountability. So each one of us as individuals are responsible for being able to deliver and maximize what we can do at office and what we can do in our personal lives. And that's not something someone is going to do for you. Don't expect anyone to spoon feed that to you. That is something you're going to have to do for yourself. And I have always been extremely disciplined growing up, and it helps. If you're not, try to get disciplined in at least a few things when it comes to work. And endurance, therefore, is, it's as we've said, it's not about working late hours. It's not about those kind of things, but it's pretty much just standing up for what you believe in, what your team believes in, and standing up for your team always, always. Next, we have striving for excellence. I think you have to kind of keep pushing yourself, self-motivate yourself to kind of go out there, outdo yourself, outdo your last campaign, outdo your last business result, outdo the last KPIs that you achieved. You have to constantly keep striving for excellence, no matter what you're doing, no matter which aspect you come to. And finally, empathy. I think being in such a tech connected world where we're constantly on our phones and our screens and our iPads and our TVs, etc., at the same time, I think being so digitally connected, we almost forget that we're human beings at the core of it. And so empathy is something that you should always hold as a core value in marketing, especially because it is a very intense field of work. It's something which is long hours. It's something which is creatively very draining. You give a lot to ideas. You give a lot to creating campaigns. You give a lot to executing campaigns. So if you forget that, in the heat of things and sort of in the aggressiveness of things, you sometimes forget that everyone's just here to do a job. So empathy, I think, is something that you should always regard very close to whatever your value, no matter where you're going. That should be a core value for everyone. Right. So what we're here to discuss. Mainline, I've kept it very, very simple, guys, and I'd be happy to take on questions and be specific about certain doubts you may have. I'm going to give you like an overview of what it looks like. So when you look at mainline, and of course, this is my understanding of it before anyone goes in like, no, this is not how agencies work. This is just based on my experience and my knowledge. These are loosely the most interesting or the most, how do I say, the broadest explanations of what these agencies consist of. Of course, agencies have extremely complicated structures, and each agency is very different in the way that they have their teams and the way that their departments are structured. But since we're here to talk about career opportunities and what you could possibly have a future in, I've kept it to broader categories so that you can understand. So starting with planning, now this is, we're talking about a mainline creative agency. Over here, what planning represents is a whole bunch of research, first of all. So I think the planning department is planning and strategy. Those are the two things that go hand in hand in the planning department when it comes to a mainline creative agency. So when I say research, I do mean the literal research. So there would be different kind of research agencies employed, and let's say we're launching a new detergent in the market. So the planning team would go out along with the client servicing team and someone from, let's say, the copy team or the creative team to go out there, do market studies, talk to a bunch of consumers, understand reactions, responses, so on and so forth, take those learnings and therefore be able to arrive at a sound strategy that they want to sort of implement or they think that a particular product or campaign should have. So planning composes of these two parts, which is the research bits, and therefore then as a result of that, the strategizing bits. Next, we have copy. So your copy team is very simply put, you have copywriters who can write everything from scripts to print ads to outdoor hoardings to POS, point of sale, merch, those kind of things. And copy team essentially is the copywriters within the agency. Art team, on the other hand, is composed of different visual skill sets that can be anything from post production in different kinds of print ads and so on and so forth, to hoardings and banners and those kind of specializations as well. So from an art perspective, you pretty much have a mix of different backgrounds of people who work in the art team who can specialize across the board on different types of platforms. And finally, you have the client servicing team. So the client servicing team is the one who services the client, who's in touch with the client, who makes sure that the briefs and the deadlines and the timelines, etc., are being met on time, and are essentially the voice of the agency when it comes to the client, and the voice of the brand when it comes to within the agency. That's in a nutshell the four main sort of divisions when it comes to a mainline creative agency. When it comes to a mainline media agency, you have planning, buying, strategy, and business. This planning is slightly different, actually very different from that planning. When you talk about planning in a media agency, what that means is they make media plans. So effectively, they will decide what kind of money should go on the different platforms in a particular campaign. So we should be investing so much on radio, so much on print, so much on television, so much on outdoor hoardings, etc., etc. So they would effectively put down based on previous learnings, based on the strategy that's been proposed, based on any kind of inciting and category understanding that they have, and of course, any kind of inventory that exists. What is the best mix that needs to go into a media plan is what the planning team does. Then you have the buying team. So the buying team typically is the one who is negotiating the rates, who is making sure that if the planning team has, let's say, put across 100 rupees on hoardings, your buying team will make sure that the hoardings that are picked are correct in the correct market, in the correct locality, which is reaching out to the correct target audience, so on and so forth. When it comes to digital, the buying team also is responsible for optimization. So what that means is that can take a whole different session, but what that means is when we run ads on, let's say, a Facebook or a Google on digital, you're allowed to bid on the platforms. So I can outbid Janvi's ad when it comes to, because we're all fighting for the same space. We're all fighting for visibility on a particular screen. And so therefore the platforms allow you to bid. So the best bid sort of wins. And that's kind of called optimization. So your objective is to get the maximum amount of visibility with the lowest bid. And you kind of keep doing experiments and keep optimizing, trying different TGs, trying different messages, so on and so forth, in order to have a plan optimized in that fashion. Then you have the strategy team. In a media agency, a strategy team effectively comes up with an annual plan or comes up with a quarterly plan, or what is it which is that's going to truly be able to do justice to the amount of media spends that are going into a particular campaign, and what's going to have the client be triumphant and come on top as a winner, maximize efficiency, maximize ROI, those kind of things. So the strat team essentially covers that sort of a function. And finally, the business team. So the business team in a media agency is, I would say, similar to a client servicing team within a creative agency. So the business team essentially is responsible for interacting with the different business holders or the different clients that they have on board in order to do come up with whatever campaigns, etc., that they might need. Finally, we come to a digital agency. Now, what has happened, I think, over the course of the last couple of decades, as digital has sort of risen, is that traditionally you've always had the creative and the media agency separate. So let's say Ogilvy is a creative agency, and Group M, so Mindshare or MediaCom or any of these are media agencies, and they work individually with the brand to create a cohesive campaign. Uh, that used to be traditionally how everything operates. It was a two agency system along with the client and the brand deciding what they want to do. As digital sort of evolved, there were a lot of independent agencies like ourselves who came into the mix, who could do both creative and media on the digital platforms. We could take onus of doing creatives and copies and art and all of those things. And we could also run ads on Facebook, Google, Instagram, so on and so forth. So that has almost given birth to an agency structure within digital, which therefore has more departments per se and more specialities when it than a mainline setup. So we have account management. Now, why we call it account management and not client servicing is because there's a slight difference. Account management also shares the onus of strategy when it comes to a digital system, because the account management team in within a net agency like ours is somewhat of like a like a traffic controller. It's almost like the person who is the gatekeeper of everything coming in and everything going out. And so therefore it's the responsibility of the account management team to enlist the services of the different departments within digital to put the best foot forward and to almost orchestrate what is a larger strategy, a larger business plan for a particular client, and also smaller campaigns, topical campaigns, so on and so forth. Of course, they also service the client. So client servicing is a part of account management. It's not the whole and soul of it. So, because this is a question I get asked often, okay, what's the difference between client service and account management? Account management has a business touch to it versus client servicing is a lot more to do with responding, communicating, and therefore developing a deeper sense of understanding of the client and the brand. Versus account management is about those things, but also running the show and working. And they therefore need to have a working understanding of all the departments that work within a digital agency. Excuse me. So we also have a copy team and an art team, the same way that you had in a traditional creative agency, which does copywriting and visuals and art. Then you have a media team. So the media team effectively looks at different kind of media buys, different kind of media optimization, right from, let's say, a platform like Quora to a platform like Facebook, Twitter, to Google display networks, to publishers such as Times of India, to OTT platforms such as Hotstar, Amazon, and e-commerce platforms as well, such as Amazon and Flipkart, Myntra, so on and so forth. So the media team is responsible for buying different inventory and optimizing and running ads on those inventories for the campaigns that we have. Next, we have the SEO team. SEO is search engine optimization. For those of you who don't know, in the most simplest way that I can explain it, is that when you Google something, you of course see a bunch of ads which come on top, but then you see the unpaid ads, the actual organic ranking of what comes first in your Google search, first, second, third, fourth, so on and so forth. That is called search engine optimization, because It's a proper function in the digital agency system where there are subject matter experts who work with different pieces of content to make sure that it ranks higher in the Google ecosystem. And not just Google now, this is also extended to Amazon, this is also extended to your Yahoos and Bings, of course, that's always been there. But yeah, it's also extended. There's now we can do SEO in YouTube as well. We can do SEO in an Amazon as well, beyond over and above doing SEO just on Google. So because digital keeps evolving, these are kind of newer platforms which are opening up to optimization techniques also, which always makes it interesting. And the last sort of department that we have is ORM and SL, so which is online reputation management and social listening. So online reputation management is there are multiple tools that we use where we can track all the comments and all the buzz and all the conversations that are going on around a topic or a brand or a hashtag or a keyword. And it allows you to manage that brand's reputation. So that's why it's called online reputation management, because how you respond to those consumers, how you respond to those complaints, how you sort of, you can either make it witty, you can make it interesting, you can simply, because if it's a technical product, then you can help them out on chatbots and such, all of those things. And that is pretty much what reputation management does. And social listening goes hand in hand sort of with ORM. Social listening is effectively, again, using a different bunch of tools to gauge and understand sentiment. So sentiment around a product, sentiment around a show. So for example, Netflix is one of our clients. So from time to time, we would also, look at doing some sort of an analysis on how the content is doing, how it's being received, what's being said about it. Or let's say we have Religare Health Insurance. So doing their social listening entails what are the kind of comparisons that consumers are making between me and my competition products, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's ORM and social listening. And just to give you a snapshot in terms of hierarchy, this is the hierarchy that we have within our structure. As I mentioned, different structures, different organizations have different structures. So typically you start off as a junior executive, you then go into a senior executive. An associate manager is a position that we have within our agency. Why we have it is we want to encourage employees from within the organization and groom them to take on managerial roles instead of getting more senior people from outside. So that's something that we've always believed in growing talent in-house. I am a product of that as well within the agency, for example. So yeah, we truly believe in that, and we do focus a lot on growth within the network. So that's why associate manager is a degree that we have, which where we almost train a promising candidate or a promising employee, team member, on how they can grow and become an actual manager of the team. Then we have associate director, same thing. We train people on how they can become better at their jobs and take on a larger responsibility, probably even gear them up towards having P&L responsibilities and understanding business and revenues, top line, bottom line, such and such, and groom them to become directors. And of course, then above a director, you have a business head or a head of department or a head of operations, regardless, depending on which part of the network that you belong to. Finally, I think before I open up to questions and such, just a little bit of, snapshots and snippets of our culture. I think advertising and Foxy, therefore, and the zoo at large, we've always been about risk taking and experimenting. Awards come and awards go. We win a lot of them, of course, but what we take pride in the most is kind of doing great work together. That's always been our motto, that we, no matter what, we'll risk it, we'll have fun, we'll do whatever, but we will keep experimenting, and the hunger to learn is something that never goes away. No cabin culture. I think this is something that I have always appreciated, which is why it's here. Is that we've never really had a cabin system in our agency, that the bosses sit in one room and like they have these individual units and stuff. I think that's honestly the agencies of the future. That's pretty much how open desk seating works, and that's how I think agencies abroad even now work. So I don't see why Indian agencies can't follow or create their own culture in that fashion. So yeah, we have chill rooms and chill spaces. We have PSs in office, and carom boards and table tennis tables and those kind of things. Everything that you would imagine in an agency, but in a controlled manner, not crazy. we truly believe in work hard and party harder. We love taking care of our people. We love partying. We spend a lot of time together. We always celebrate all our victories together, and we make it a point that we do take time off from whatever it is we're doing to celebrate each other's success as well, and to celebrate just being together as a team. Man, teamwork is highly underrated. It goes a long way to have a good team and to build that culture within your company that encourages everyone to always put their team before themselves. And finally, of course, we are a company who loves celebrating all kinds of festivals. We love eating, all of us do. And we genuinely look at each other and treat each other as family. And that's what's gotten us so far. Um, and yeah, that's just a whole bunch of us. This was one of our offsites this was our last offsite, I think, before COVID unfortunately happened, where we kind of just take a few days off and take everyone out and have some fun. Uh, I don't know how many of you know, or I'm sure most of you have or would have come across this poem by Rudyard Kipling, which is called If. If you haven't, please do look at it. I think as a piece of advice that I would give everyone is read this poem, understand it. It's very meaningful. I never even thought about this. Trust me, I learned this or would have studied it somewhere in the fifth or the sixth standard, or even earlier than that. Never cared for it. But I think as I kept growing and I kept growing older and understanding a lot of things and working a lot more, I've been in a lot of situations, to be honest, as my intro also suggested, I've been in a lot of tough spots where I am half the age of everybody across the table. I am probably the youngest person in the room, and my peers or my counterparts from other agencies, they have been like, there have been times when I had 3-4 years of experience and they had 14-16 years of experience. So I think, which is why I also spoke about values, and which is why I'm speaking about this poem as well. Looking at it and understanding it and truly just relating to building a core value system, and therefore having your own principles and your own ethics, and being in good companies, recognizing wherever, because this is also being organized by the placement cell, you all are looking to get placed or will look to get placed in the near future. uh, Work in good companies, work in good company cultures. I think that's important, that the company's values and sort of ways of operating aligns with yours. Because if that doesn't exist, you're not truly going to be happy, and you're not going to be able to deliver at the kind of results and the kind of ambitions that you want to have. So yeah, look at this poem if you haven't already. Just Google it. It's a beautiful poem, and it pretty much puts down some sort of rules and some sort of understanding of how you should live life, and not take yourself too seriously, but also stay true to your values and core. And yeah, last thing, dude, guy, everybody, be present. No matter what, don't think so much about the future. Don't get so stressed out about what you're going to do. No matter what you're doing, be present and have fun. There's nothing in this life that you're going to enjoy if you're not having fun while doing it. So that's that. So that's all of my advice, and I would be happy to take on any questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an insightful session. We really appreciate the way you explained everything about client servicing, planning, and creative department, then the hierarchy structure, and even an overview of the career prospects related to marketing. And we also hope that we are able to inculcate the values of Ice Cube that you quoted. So now I would like to inform all the attendees that the chat box has been enabled. You can put up your queries there, and I shall be asking ma'am on your behalf.
Under the name of marketing, students usually get internship for sales, social media, student ambassador. How much importance does these internships have while applying for a job under marketing? And for someone who's looking at a career towards market strategy, what kind of prior experience will you suggest that a resume should contain? That's a great question. So you've asked three, but I will answer all three separately. First of all, under the name of marketing, students get internships. Yes, I would say take up whatever internships you get. I had the privilege of doing one internship in my life. I didn't, because I was doing Project Chirag and those kind of things in my other summers. So after my first year, I did an internship in a company called Mirchi Movies. It was a production house of the Times of India group. I had no interest in films, to be honest. Never had, like, in that way. I pretty much went along because as an intern, I was getting to assist the vice president of the company. And so my carrot wasn't what I was getting out of the internship. My carrot was what I was getting out of that person. What am I going to get to learn from the person that I'm working with? What I did in my internship was I sat and figured out ways to market the movies that they were coming up with. So it was movie marketing, to simplify it. Um, and I just pretty much spent my day looking at different celebrities, looking at different fan clubs online, looking at, different theaters and different communities we could reach out to, which papers, which newspapers we should do print ads, and so on and so forth. Were all of my suggestions, and will all of my suggestions be incorporated? Probably very unlikely. But whatever I learned from that man who was my first boss, his name was Ganesh Iyer, was a lot of what is required in relationship building. How do you actually talk to different people in the partners in marketing, like in the game? He was the vice president of marketing. I have a lot of friends who worked in different places. I can guarantee you every internship is going to teach you something. To connect it to your second question, is your internship taken into consideration when you're looking for a permanent job? The honest answer from my side is no. I don't. I am not looking at internships when I am looking at hiring a candidate. Um, that's because internships are more about you learning rather than what value you can add back to a particular system. We encourage a lot of internships within our companies, is because we hire a lot of people. So for us, internships are about spotting good candidates, and then probably, once they're done with their studies or something, they can come back and do a job with us. So in our system and in agencies in general, interns are more about, teaching them the ropes so that they can eventually become resources for the future. So to keep it short, you have to look at internships in terms of what is the value that you are getting out of it. The rest will sort itself out. And for someone who's looking, yeah, for someone who's looking for career towards market strategy is nothing. There's no department or there is no function called marketing strategy. I am assuming you are implying strategy overall. Um, I think while some agencies do have teams called strategy, having worked the amount of years I have, I think strategy is a ever-present function. So no matter what you do, if you're doing copywriting, if you're doing art, if you're doing media, if you're doing SEO, whatever function or whatever role you're playing, you always have to be strategic about it. So strategy is almost a practice rather than a department. So, but of course, to answer your specific question, if you want to get into like, let's say, if you want to get into a creative team strategy, like what I mean is if you want to get into the planning team in, let's say, an Ogilvy, you have to do your first few years or at least some amount of experience in either art or copy or client servicing to understand how clients work and how the industry works and how the agency network works. And of course, read up as much as you can. So your experience would be pretty much your postgrad, if you're doing it, that counts. And also what take workex in industries or functions that you're interested in, that you actually care about and that you will be willing to learn, and then it can go from there. I hope that answered your question, Pratyusha, if I'm saying that right. Prince, is marketing all about convincing people? If yes, then how, on a concrete approach, inculcate that skill? How can you inculcate that skill? Is it about convincing people? No, marketing is not only about convincing people. I think you have specific teams which are responsible for convincing people, depending on, again, where you're working. Marketing is a lot more. I think convincing is just like the top of, the top of the iceberg that you see. You can only convince people once everybody else does their job. So once my research people give me the insights, once my creative people give me the art, the thought process of why we're choosing particular art and why we're writing certain copy in a certain way. If my ORM team comes back with a sentiment analysis of the brand, says this is what people are talking about, and therefore this should be the approach. Different people need to do different things and put a plan together. And the selling is literally like the last bit. It's the final few miles. Of course, it's important, no doubt about it, but it's not the only thing. And it's not, marketing is not all about just convincing people. There are certain roles which are only about convincing people, such as business development. So you have business development teams who go out and actively seek new business. You have the account management team, which is also about convincing people because they have to talk to the clients a lot of times and convince them. And yeah, if yes, then how can you inculcate that skill? Well, argue a lot with people. That's the simplest thing I would say. So if even if you're looking at, you guys are, I'm assuming, different, studying different degrees, but we started very young. I had done a marketing specific course. We used to have different case studies that we would work on for every subject, which I'm sure you guys do as well. So convincing starts there. If you can convince your peer, your friend, your colleague, whoever, that your point of view is more suited to a particular example or a particular case study or a particular situation, the ability to convince starts from there. As you grow up, as you start working, you will start having a more informed opinion because you will have a lot more experience. You will deal with a lot more real life examples. You will study a lot more and witness a lot more real brands and consumers, so on and so forth. So therefore, your experience will keep solidifying the facts and your information that you have at your disposal. But the art of convincing, you have to practice till you get it right. There's no other way to do it. You just have to keep going at it and trying different ways. I hope that helped.
Another question from my own end. Like we are all in our college phase, and we really want to know, like, what were the challenges that you faced, while becoming so successful that you are today? Like, were there any challenges? Were there any breakdowns and everything? So that would actually motivate us on an informal touch.
Yeah. Challenges, of course. I think there were a lot of challenges, guys. As I said, it's not an easy job. For me, I think few of them have been that I was a very young leader within the agency and within the market as well. So that was pretty tough because, unfortunately, the reality very often in our country is that people do attach a lot of weight to age and experience. And I am fortunately in a company where your ideas and your skill is the only thing that matters. We don't get promoted based on how old we are or how many years of experience we have and all of that jazz. So overcoming that was something which was a definite challenge. Weirdly enough, being there's a definite, I've worked in Bombay. I'm from Bombay, so I've worked in Bombay for the first 3 years of my stint at Foxy, and now I've been in the North market for the last 5. It's a very different environment working in advertising in Bombay and working in advertising in Delhi. And that definitely some ways has to do with me being a female as well, because people always assume I have a boss who's someone else. And it's taken a lot of me sort of saying, you're talking to the boss, there's no one, I don't report into anyone. So, so you kind of, I think over time, you develop a thick skin to a lot of things. You have to. I don't believe in there can be days, don't get me wrong, there can be days when you can feel like shit and you pretty much just go home and you're feeling like, what have I done in my life and all of that. Those days happen to everyone, no matter how big, small, old, young. It's agnostic. That's human nature. So yeah, you kind of just have to keep believing in yourself, and you have to do the hard work. So you have to read, you have to go prepared and over prepared into every conversation. Very often people think it comes easy. It doesn't. You have to make a discipline of reading. I read every morning at least for half an hour, no matter what. I'm not saying I read the newspaper. I definitely don't. I don't remember the last time I read a newspaper. But I read my marketing journals. I read different consumer reports, different consumer studies, brand launch strategies, so on and so forth. So you have to keep educating and upgrading and upskilling yourself in order to be that confident that no matter what situation you're thrown into, you can come out on top, that you know what you're talking about. And therefore that really helps. Can you suggest, I'm sorry, Manvi, did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am, totally. Thank you so much.
Okay. Can you suggest any readings? Some good books of your suggestion. Okay, so by reading, what I read personally when it comes to work related stuff, it's just on LinkedIn. So I will read different reports which my network and which I've built over the years. People share interesting things, and so your ad weeks of the world, campaigns of the world, different kind of. I don't mean. Not the social media ones. I mean genuine, like Harvard Business Reviews, Economist articles, those kind of things. Impact Magazine. So different kinds of brand studies and all of those things. That's kind of what I keep reading. I read a lot on. When I say Google and Facebook, I don't mean the platforms Google and Facebook, but Google, Facebook, they have their own. Directories of study material. So I think somebody had also asked for readings. If you do want to pursue a career in digital, particularly at least, you can read a lot of these which exist, which are free of cost. You can just go to for Facebook, it's called Facebook Blueprint. For Google, you can just find different study material across. There are exams also that you can give, and you can study a lot over there. So they have repositories of content which you can read up on, which is a good starting point. And then from there, you can, of course, while you're reading the Economists and the Harvard Business Reviews and Kantar reports and different kind of consultancies, they publish reports. That's pretty much what I read. These are the kind of things that I read. Any kind of trends, any kind of upcoming technology, any kind of new influencer management technique, or any way of measuring ROI. Those are my readings that I do. Otherwise, books I read. I read only fiction. Books for me is only recreation. I don't read books related to work. I read purely fiction. So I don't think that's what your question is about. But yeah. During college life, when is the right time to start doing internships as your summer holidays, man? Like whenever you have breaks, that's when you should do internships. I have never been a believer of doing an internship or working while you're studying, because trust me, you're going to be working your whole life. You're going to be studying only for 3 or 4 or 5 years out of those. So please, if you're studying, study, enjoy your college life. In it, they as cliche as it sounds, this is not going to come back. Work is never going to stop once you start working. So internships, I would say you have between FY, SY, TY, you'll have 2 summer holidays, do 2 internships. I think that's good enough. Probably do one right after college. If you are probably waiting to go abroad and waiting to study, then you can do one more. But yeah, enjoy your college life as much as possible. Don't try to start working while you're in college. I think it kills both. It'll kill your college life, it'll kill your work life as well. You'll just get tired of it before you even get into it. Um, can you comment on the monetary growth associated with marketing? Kanishka, I think you'll have to be a little more specific than that. I didn't quite understand your question. I will, you can, I guess, I don't know if you can unmute yourself and talk. If that's not an option, then if you could specify, because I didn't understand the monetary growth associated with marketing. In what way? As a person, like how much you earn, or as the industry or the agency, like which aspect are you talking about? I will answer Prince's question till then. Do we require to be a field centric from a very early age? No, you don't, Prince. That's not true. Most agencies encourage and are very comfortable with lateral moves as well. What I mean by that is, if you're in account management and you feel like creative is your calling, they'll be happy to move you into creative. So they don't know, there's nothing like that, that what you stick to or what you start with is what you need to continue. Start somewhere, feel your way around the agency, start working. Of course, go with your instinct, go with your ambition of this is probably what I think I want to do or what I like doing. If you don't, you can always switch. There's no hard and fast over there. How can we start our career in marketing? By starting. Get a job as soon as you're done with college. That's pretty much it. But to answer that in a better way or in a more detailed way, there are pretty much three aspects to marketing roles within our country and loosely, broadly classified. One is brand side. So if you want to be a client, if you want to work on in a brand, if you want to work in an HUL, PNG, whatever, if you want to work on the brand side of things, that's one sort of role that you can get in marketing. The second is in agencies. So you can have, there are hundreds, there are multiple different agencies that exist in the country. You can be in different types of agencies. As I mentioned, these are the three types. There are many more. You can go from any of those, be on the agency side. And the third aspect that you can be in is on the partner side. Now, partner, I'm loosely classifying, but partner over here means all of your tech companies or your different other partners who work in different marketing aspects. Like you have on ground partners, so people who do event agencies and those kind of things. When it comes to digital, Google, Facebook, Quora, Twitter, uh, Zapper, these are all different kinds of other vendors, we call them as well, vendors who exist. So that is another role in marketing that you can take in. Those are more specific because you will have very particular role playing or particular function occupying companies. So you can work over there. So roughly, yeah, get a job in any of these three types, brand or agency or partner roles. And that's how you can start your career, depending on what interests you and excites you. From my own personal observation, I have seen people getting marketing jobs like brand management or CRM under big brands after doing MBA specialization. Do you agree with this? How much scope does an undergrad student have? I personally disagree with this. I was going to give my CAT exam and I wanted to get into, I guess, do an MBA. I very early on realized that my aptitude for marketing is not going to be justified by doing an MBA just because it's competitive and just because it's prestigious. I don't think that that's the way I wanted to learn marketing. I always, from very early on, knew that the only way forward in marketing is by learning as much as you can on the job. So you have to start learning. You have to get out of the textbook and get out of the case studies and face real consumers, face real brands, face real market problems, which once you start working on and solving is when you start understanding how marketing works. So yeah, I don't agree with this. I have very often fought with a lot of my clients who have employment criteria such as only IIMs or only MBA students and those kind of things. I myself, I have a master's degree. I did get a scholarship, which is why I did it. Had I not gotten a scholarship, would I have pursued a postgrad? Most likely not. I was very keen on starting working because I wanted to learn on the job and understand how be able to start doing my advertising and communication and things like that. So yeah, I don't agree with them, and I don't agree with that philosophy either. Neither of my co-founders, they both don't have. Then neither of us are MBAs. If you honestly look at our entire top senior leadership, I don't. Janvi, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of us have MBA degrees.
Yeah, no one.
Pretty much we do have master's degrees
Yeah,
because we found something interesting and we wanted to specialize in that. Or we do have second degrees, like Sudhir, who's one of our co-founders, he has a law degree as well. But nothing, no, like MBA doesn't guarantee nothing in life.
yeah.
Just okay. Will a postgraduate degree like MBA enhance once? I just answered that question. From a job point of view, does it uh, does it enhance your chances of getting a job in a country like India? Sure. That bias exists. I will not deny that. Especially, actually, now it exists only if you want to join the HULs and the PNGs of the world. They are also slowly but steadily realizing that these rules don't make sense too much. It's how good you are, man. It's how good you are at your job. That's pretty much what's going to make the difference. And Pratyusha, to your earlier question, how much scope does an undergrad student have? A lot. If you start working, I know, for example, there is a guy who I groomed. He joined the Gurgaon office as an intern. He was still giving his TY exams. Straight after internship, he joined the company, and within 2 years, he became an associate team leader from just being an intern to being an ATL in 2 years. So he basically went to from intern to junior executive to senior executive to ATL in 2 years flat. So if you're good at your job and you have a knack for what you're doing and you have the hunger to learn and you keep getting better and better, nothing can stop you. No education, qualification, etc. doesn't matter. Yes. Cool. I think if there's any more
Yes,
questions.
ma'am. I think that is all. We've covered all the questions. So thank you so much. Once again, I would really like to thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule and addressing our students in the key aspects of marketing. Thanks a lot.